In Hong Kong, there's only one towel that's allowed to be used by prison inmates. What towel is that?
Who invented the Etch-A-Sketch and how?
Why do scammers, who are not actually Nigerian, continue to claim that they are from Nigeria?
And finally, in this episode, why are those 4-colour BIC pens so popular with students and nurses?
Hello and welcome to REMORANDOM, a celebration of everything interesting and a companion to the printed book series of the same name. I'm Remo Frey.
And I'm Claudia Chanshaw.
Claudia, it's not sunny outside. It's cold-ish. No, it's not cold-ish, but I was still at the pool this morning doing my morning laps. For those who don't know, I live in Bondi and there's a gorgeous pool here. In fact, in the third volume of REMORANDOM, the yellow one, I sing the praises of the pool. There's the yellow guy. So that's not what we're going to talk about today, but just so you know. What else is happening? The sets of 3 books that I bind with this, lovely paper thing.
Nice.
They are
Very
selling
nice.
very, very well at the moment. It makes me happy because when people subscribe, they don't get books. They get the next book, and so this way they get to kind of catch up. Yeah, so it's nice to see it getting out there. How's your week? Oh, I saw that fabulous profile piece of you on the weekend.
Oh,
How did
yeah.
That
That was really nice. I forwarded it to my brother in case he didn't get the paper. And he said, ooh, full page. Yes, so full page about my adventures because I lead these great tours overseas, Art Deco and Art Nouveau. And so really, really interesting plug. But it was nice because the journalist wanted to know about, where do we go to get these great pastries you're talking about in Paris? Or where do we go to see this great Art Deco in Singapore? So nice piece.
Yeah,
very nice.
What a wonderful junket that you've kind of tapped yourself into. How long have you been doing those trips?
Oh, golly. More than 10 years. More than 10 years. Well, you take away 3 for COVID, so, maybe
you'd have a lot
years.
of stamps on that passport. Does that still happen?
I had to get a new passport because, I'm traveling again, and they don't stamp them anymore. You go into another country, they do a machine-readable passport. I want my stamps. Yeah, so there's no proof that I've been anywhere.
So today, first up, is Good Morning Towels. So Good Morning Towels, these are the towels. Oh, I should have actually brought a towel from the bathroom, but
that's what it looks like.
You know
I
them?
see.
Yeah. And then the Chinese letters afterwards. So I've been obsessed with these towels for a long time. They're just so beautiful. And no trip to any Chinatown anywhere in the world is complete for me unless I sort of duck into the Chinese supermarket and hunt out to see if they've got Good Morning Towels. So, it's usually food, but in one of the aisles at the back, then they have the sort of the big woks and the kitcheny stuff, and sometimes they're peeking out from like a low shelf are like a stack of Good Morning Towels. In ye olde Remo days, we used to sort of resell them in the store. We would kind of bundle them in packs of 5. And I would therefore be buying lots and lots of Good Morning Towels and then doing the traditional little bit of haggle there at the cash register with, I think her name was Susie. The towels are simple white towels. They've got this kind of blue edge and red writing, and the words kind of good morning in this kind of wonky script, and some Chinese characters that say, and excuse my pronunciation, Zhu Jun Zhao An in pinyin, read right to left, and that roughly translates to wish you early morning, which is a somewhat formal good morning greeting. And there's a number below, most commonly the number 96, and I think that just is some reference to the size. But we did a sort of tribute design at Remo, and we put the number 88 there because that's the year that we founded. So we've kind of taken advantage.
lucky Chinese number, 8.
I know, happens to be.
And 2 8s. Very
Looking
lucky.
good. It's like getting a good car park. Everything
Yeah.
is looking up from here. So it's the acronym for Good Morning Towel is GMT. They've got a long history in Southeast Asia. The English greeting was added to appeal to sort of British expats in Hong Kong. Some enterprising Chinese guy decided that he would like add the English on there to sort of double the appeal. And now they're still made. They're made in Guangdong province. They're still ubiquitous in Hong Kong. Indeed, they are the only towels that inmates in the prison and jail system in Hong Kong are allowed to use, which kind of makes me a little bit sad because they're not huge. They're kind of small.
Oh, they're like
So
a hand towel, are they?
It's it's like a little body wipe.
Poor
They're
things.
also very popular in Singapore and very evocative of the kind of the early days with the sweat and toil of the people who made that country great. Labourers, rickshaw drivers, they've become kind of retro chic in Singapore. People are sort of doing them in high-end materials with gold embroidery. Nothing as good as the original. So we've got in our bathroom, we've got a little hook next to the basin. There's always a Good Morning Towel sitting there to sort of makes me happy.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me because while I've traveled in a number of Asian countries, I've never seen a Good Morning Towel. And what's the bet? When I head off to Singapore, I'm going to see them everywhere
They're
now
gonna
because
be
you changed my frame of reference. Can you get them in Sydney, Chinatown? Do you know?
Well, you and I were there the other day, and I almost said
We
to
weren't
you,
looking.
Can we just tuck into the Burlington Centre or whatever it's called now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I took the TEDx Sydney director, Stuart Birchmore, out for dinner. Maybe it was a year ago, and I said I dragged him down into the supermarket, and we got some. I got a nice photograph of him.
Oh, that's great.
With one on his head, but
You know how to show a guy a good time, don't you? Hey, let's go
Yeah.
to Chinatown. Let's go to the supermarket. I'll meet you in aisle 7.
you get the ginger candies, I'll get the Good Morning Towels.
Oh, yeah, and the white rabbit candies. Yum.
So what are you going to tell me about now?
Well, I'm going to talk about a great toy, and it's featured in REMORANDOM, of course. And when I was growing up, I don't know about you, Remo, but I used to covet other people's toys because, we led simple lives. And one of the toys that I really wanted was the mousetrap game.
Oh, yeah, I
You remember that one?
Yeah.
That like
There was some
that was
mystique about
great.
that game, wasn't there? I can't remember
Oh,
why,
yeah.
but yeah.
And it had a good TV commercial too, so, made you want it even more. But the other game that I really coveted was the Etch-A-Sketch, because that was, you could draw something on this little screen that looked like a little TV, and then you could make it disappear. It was like, bing, it's gone. So the Etch-A-Sketch, if you haven't seen one, well, the idea was born in
Everybody's
about the
seen
mid...
one, I think.
Well, I hope so. It was born in the mid to late 1950s. And there was this French electrician. His name was André Casson. And he's working away and he's replacing a plate, electric light switch plate. And he peels off the little translucent decal and he makes a few pencil marks on it. And he looks at it and he says, oh, look at that. I can see that the image I've drawn can be seen on the opposite side of the decal. Bing! Electrician, light bulb moment. So he starts thinking, and the Etch-A-Sketch is born in his head. So they introduce it in 1959 at the International Toy Fair in Nuremberg in Germany, but it's a total flop. This is no good. Andre's accountant, clever accountant, money's man, finds a company that will license the Etch-A-Sketch. It's the Ohio Art Company, and they invest $25,000 in it. Now, that's more money than anybody's ever invested in a toy to date, and it's an instant hit. Now, they're super popular. It's 1960. It's approaching Christmas time, and the factory is still up until midday producing Etch-A-Sketches for that Christmas rush. So it helped that they had a great TV commercial, like, old Mousetrap. All the kids want one. And it showed the children how it worked. You know, you draw on this and then bing, it's
Bing.
gone. Sold more than 200 million units since it was released in July 1960. These days, the Etch-A-Sketch is still pretty hot. It's big on the internet. There are Etch-A-Sketch artists. There's one guy whose name is George Vlosic III, and he did this really cool portrait of LeBron James, and that went viral. So the
Even
Etch-A-Sketch
LeBron
is
James,
magic.
you make everyone sound French. LeBron.
LeBron James. Yeah, magic.
You know,
Etch-A-Sketch.
there was we used to sell them at Remo, and there was a guy, a local bloke. I can't remember his surname. His name was James, and we had the Etch-A-Sketch on the front counter, the cash register, and he would hang out there and do these remarkable things to show off to our gorgeous selling team. He became kind of part of the furniture, but he was pretty skilled. I was frankly never any good at it, and because I just don't have that kind of patience. But
So how you twiddle your dials, Remo?
well, you got to twiddle them both at the same time. It's like patting your head and rubbing your stomach.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like not good at that.
Yeah, never had one. Always wanted one. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Okay, Claudia, now I want to talk to you about Nigeria, and specifically Nigerian prince scams. So you know what they are?
Yeah, I do.
You get them?
I have received a number.
So they're also known as the 419 scam. That's named after the relevant section in the Nigerian criminal code. So it's a confidence trick, and it's been perpetrated for decades. It's not a new thing. Primarily these days via email, but other means. So there's a sob story. There's like a wealthy prince or government official or someone from a wealthy family who's got access to some, windfall, which they can't get to unless, they need just a little bit of money to unlock that treasure, and they try to co-opt you. It's referred to generically as an advance fee fraud. So the scammers spin this convincing tale about their situation, and promising the victim this kind of huge commission if they help them out by, advancing them the $10,000 that they need in order to unlock the millions. So it's been up and running since the early days of the internet, sort of in their electronic sense, but it actually dates way back to the 19th century. It was, in those days, it was called the Spanish prisoner. So
really?
This scam has been around for yonks. And why Nigeria? That's where a bunch of them came from in the early days. At the end of the 20th century, Nigeria was one of the biggest hubs for online fraud. And it circulated so widely that it became a cliche that it was, the Nigerian prince scam. So even though today less than 6% of these scams originate in Nigeria, most of them happen from the US, actually.
Okay.
Nigeria cops a bad rap still. And why do those scammers in the US pretend to be Nigerian? Well, as it happens, the only people who are likely to fall for the scam are people who are gullible enough never to have heard of the Nigerian
Gullible
prince
enough
scam.
to hand over 10 grand.
Yeah, so Nigeria is like set up as a sort of a flag that weeds out the sophisticated people who just trash it. And that's why the English is bad sometimes, with typos and grammatical errors. That they're also just trying to make sure that it's only the most gullible people who hang in there. And the language is so bad it's good. It's quite beautiful. There was there's a guy called Zave Frank. He's a comedian who has spoken several times at the TED conference, and he was clearly obsessed with Nigerian scams and used to collect all of them all of the emails, all the letters. He had a huge collection. And I do remember, I can't remember when it was, early to mid-90s at one of the TED conferences. His performance was to stand on stage and with great heart and conviction, he acted out and spoke verbatim one of these letters, and with all the kind of the goofy things that didn't make sense. And
excellent.
I've actually in the page of it's in volume 3. There's a link to the Vimeo, so you can watch Zay delivering. But it is one of those things that will probably be around for another 100 years, and Nigeria is just going to have to cop it sweet, I'm afraid.
Can you imagine that Prince William, for instance, would send out an email to all these people he's never met before, say, "Hello, I'm really having difficulty unlocking Granny's inheritance. So would you please mind sending me a few £1,000 so that I can get the ball rolling?"
But don't
Can
tell
you imagine?
anyone. Yeah. No.
Yes, but it's only you. We've never met, but I'm sure you're really lovely.
Well, if you'd said Prince Andrew, then maybe.
Okay. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
topical. There you go.
Yes. Yeah, poor old Andy. Well, I want to talk to you about biros, my friend. I want to talk to you about biros. Yes.
Okay.
Le bureau. The bureau. It was invented by Monsieur Bureau. The French are very good at inventing things like, Etch-A-Sketch, this French guy. Now, I'm going to tell you about this.
The
four-color big pen. I actually
Classico.
have Classico with the blue, but look at this one. This is the upmarket one. Ooh, look
didn't
at
see
that,
that.
glow.
Didn't
I
see that
know.
coming.
It's
Didn't see
like a
that coming.
glowing chrome. So, click, click.
Well, here I've got one
click,
too.
click.
I can
Oh,
duke
Shazam.
it out with you. Duke it out.
There you go. Okay.
What's your default
Bags
stem?
are red.
Black or
I do, there it goes. I do like the black, but sometimes when I'm making extra special notes, I like the green. Green's good.
I would have thought that the black and the blue would run out way before the green. There's probably a lot of wasted green ink out there.
I think there would be. It's a sort of pen that you could use in your primary school books and write in green ink and little hearts above the eyes and things like that. Not that I ever did that. Anyway, so about a couple of months ago, I was interviewed by The Guardian, and they said, "Can you nominate an object, an everyday object, and it can't be your phone, that you can't live without?" And I said, "Oh, my BIC 4-color pen would have to be one of the things I can't live without, because I always have these in my bag, probably making up for when I couldn't have one as a kid, didn't have one. All the other kids had them in their pencil cases, jealous." Anyway, so the BIC 4-color biro is invented in France in 1970. And it's
They're
the
inventing
4 colours in
everything
one.
at the moment, aren't they?
I know, they're so good, especially around this time. And so first of all, it's a bit of a novelty. Ooh, 4 in 1. In fact, 4 colours for only 3 francs. And it's a hit with the students. And it's also a hit with nurses, because they can take the pen and change colour and use the different colour on the medical charts. Now, it's neat because, these days we've got a little hole in the top, so you can put a thread through that and hang it around your neck.
Hang it around your neck. Because
It's
it
very,
wasn't
very,
always
very handy.
wasn't always with the hole. Because
Well, this
the
was
old
the hole.
ones, the old
The
ones
hole
just
was
had
supposed
a
to look
little
like the
circle.
big guy.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
exactly. So it was supposed to emulate the little BIC man.
The 'cause
head.
the
the head
little
of the
big
big guy.
just had a ball head.
That's it. Now it's a hole, so you can wear it around your neck. They don't really know who came up with the ingenious design. Some fabulous designer has just gone into the annals of time as a guy from BIC who invented this pen. But those who are really into it wax lyrical about it. There's a journalist in the New York Times, and he says that this pen is his life, and it helps him organize his diary. He uses blue for work-related items. He uses red for his personal. He uses black for illness, public appearances, and acts of God.
Wow.
And green is for creative projects, because the green is very creative. French school kids are still crazy for these things, and they've started a collecting craze with the latest version of the pen. So they do lots of swaps, and some people even steal them. So I was at a conference a couple of weeks ago, and I saw so many of the BIC 4-colour
really?
pen
It's
being
comeback.
clutched by delegates. Absolutely. So
The total
we
comeback.
love a
We
big
love that.
colourful
Yeah,
colour pen.
there was a photographer, or he still is a photographer, Monty Coles. I remember
Oh,
my
yeah.
wife represented him,
Yeah.
and he, I had the catalogue, and he wore white shirts with always one of those pens. And, it was the first time I kind of looked at it as a cool thing, I guess, because Monty was cool. That's a whole other story. But,
Yeah.
all right, well, I've got a new appreciation of the BIC 4 colour. Thank you for illuminating us,
I
Claudia.
never lost my appreciation. They are top of the list.
You're an OG something. So that's all for this episode of Remorandum. You can order copies of our books at remorandom.com. Subscribe to our show wherever you listen to your podcast, and you can also watch us in the flesh on either Spotify or the Remorandum YouTube channel.
And we'd really love you to get in touch. Be nice. Don't be rude. We like you to be in touch. You could comment, or you can make suggestions, or maybe you've got some really good ideas for topics. So you can do this by the website, which is remorandom.com.
Thanks, Claudia. See you next time.
Oh, great to see you, Remo. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.